Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? It's another super cold, rainy morning today here in Kuala Lumpur. This is Kevin Chan here, 7:30 in the morning as usual, and bringing you today one more topic to talk about dragon. Right, the word dragon is the word that is being used the most when you're talking about Feng Shui, right? So, and dragon is nothing more than mountain, all right? So, but it is a mystical term that it has been adopted in a lot of the classical texts. When you read classical text, whenever it talk about dragon, it is basically talking about the different mountains. So today we're gonna add a little bit into your vocabulary. You can think of this as a Chinese class. This is how Chinese classify mountain. All right, I can see Pepper is around. I can see that Simon Tan is around. Jocelyn, Peter is around. Andy Law is around. Chiang is around. Bonnie, Sabrina. How are you guys all doing? Hopefully everybody is doing super fine. Right, so interesting weeks coming up is because it is what we call your Christmas, right? So but if you look at the social media, seems like Chinese New Year has taken over Christmas already. Yes, you take a look at social media, all the music video are all Chinese New Year music video. I don't see any Christmas video. Nobody has any Christmas song, right? So even Mariah Carey, I don't see her. Right, Mariah Carey come out once a year. All right, so today we're gonna talk about dragon. Right, so it's basically the Chinese vocabulary of mountain classification, right? So it's pretty simple. All right, so I can see Cassandra is around, Kelvin is around. Hopefully you guys are doing fine. Let me just shrink myself down to the smaller version and get on with particularly today, right? So as usual, anything that you want to contact me with, Telegram would be the best for you, right? So just click on my picture and send me a PM. Right, and then of course there's always the newsletter if you just want to read some text, if that is what you want, right? So the forecast for the month of January, which is the final month for the snake year, please, 1st of January, do not change calendar at all. Then of course there is the community channel, right? So there's a community channel. Hey, this one is still the old poster. Okay, never mind. Right, we will talk to the graphic designer again, right? So back to this one, right? So dragon, we like to use the word dragon in Chinese metaphysics study, especially in Feng Shui, right? So everything is basically called dragon. Dragon don't exist. At least the version that you and I are very familiar with. There are probably another version that probably might have lived, but then at that point in time, the people having a bit of a difficulty in terms of naming, and dragon was one of the things that they have named it, right? So it's fine, right? So because you are not at the time where this particular term was used, and what we have is just references that was left behind, right? So same thing also, because of the use of terminology, right? So the use of terminology and the constant rebranding that we actually do to every single thing in this particular world nowadays, it is getting a bit more difficult to understand each other, right? So in the olden day, dragon is one of these words that is often used in Feng Shui practice. So in actual sense, what is a dragon? The dragon is nothing more than a mountain, right? So nothing more than a mountain that's being used itself. So that itself is basically called a dragon, right? So of course then there is going to be a lot of different naming convention, or you can see that there is actually different version of the dragon, right? So in Chinese, the one thing good about this is that the Chinese wording is usually very compact and concise. The meaning usually is pretty what we call precise when they use certain word, and Chinese has invented many words, right? Although Chinese got about 40 over 50,000 actual word, but the word that you actually use every day is basically less than 4,000. The common word that you use, but there is in term of the vocabulary, is very different. Komodo dragon, Komodo dragon, giant lizard, right? Giant lizard. Most likely dragon, basically, you know, most likely only in the olden day, dragon is mainly is giant snakes, right? Giant snakes, right? So, you know, yeah, you know, giant snake also they got classification for it, right? But anyway, right? So their belief is that if a snake can live more than 500 years, it will turn into a dragon. Right, so you know, do you know that there are some animal that actually cannot die of old age one? Right, like for example, crocodile. Crocodile is one animal that cannot die of old age. Snake also is another animal that does not die of old age one. They don't. Okay. Some say dragon did exist and dinosaur are fake. Also, panda are invented. No reference in this. Right, to me doesn't matter lah, right? To me doesn't matter lah, right? So you know, it's gone already, right? So if one day they decide to come back out, then only I start worrying, right? So it will be like the there was one English show, you know, that, you know, they dug into the hole and then they released one of the dragon and they basically destroyed the entire world. Forgot already. Rain of Fire. Rain of Fire. Yes. Anyway, back to this, right? So now back to this one, you know, adding you Chinese vocabulary. So today is gonna be very Chinese wording heavy, right? So yes, you know, a non-Chinese guy gonna teach you some Chinese words. Yes, snake don't die, actually they don't, right? Given enough food, given enough but given nobody go and hunt the hell out of them, they just grow bigger and bigger. Right, so these are animals that keep on growing bigger. Crocodile also, they just grow big and big as long as there's enough food. Then how snake and crocodile die? They die because they can't consume enough food to, or they grow too big that their body muscle cannot make them move. They can't move, then they can't eat, they die. They die because of that. They don't die because of old age. Right, back to this one. So now everything is basically called a mountain. So in Chinese, when you talk about mountain, it's basically generic. So the word is sun. Right, so the word is basically sun. It's basically generic mountain. Anything that bulges out of the land, right, as long as you are not flat, you are actually classified as sun. Right, so of course, they're gonna be very different level of sun according to their heights, shape, size, composition, right? So yeah, Chinese got wording for everything, right? So no, so dragon is basically a sun, a mountain, right? So now you see, mountain is mountain. Then you know, sometime in Chinese metaphysics, right? So you know that we have this thought called Long Sa Shui Yu Tiang, right? So this one we love it, right? So it is the 5 factor of determining the auspiciousness of the land, right? So it's basically, if the place need to be auspicious, it need to have a dragon, then it need to have a Sa. Sa is just basically individual mountain, nothing more than that. Soil then is water lor. It is the meridian, right? So which is the thing that a lot of people try to find, right? So now come to my excursion, I will show you a meridian. All right, so pretty easy. It's actually not difficult finding meridian. Okay, and then Heong is where should your house be facing, right? So all this study is to determine where to put a house or a receptacle, right? So that's why mountain study become very important in Feng Shui, right? So this is even more important than building. Like, too many people put too much effort into the building, but in actual sense in Feng Shui is the idea of where to put a box. The box itself is actually not important. Somebody actually asked, I know, does it shape in this way, that way, design in this way, right? So does it matter? Its actual sense, it doesn't, right? It doesn't really matter, right? That's the actual sense, because, you know, come over the excursion, we'll be looking at building that's basically been there 1,000 years ago. And you can see the progression of your building 1,000 years ago, 800 years ago, 500 years ago, and you can see that all the building is basically the same. Right, yeah, the design of the building is the same, right? Architecture doesn't go too far away. So it's for you to understand Feng Shui architecture, we're gonna call it, right? So once you understand Feng Shui architecture, when you come back to the modern world, the way that you do your assessment is going to change, right? So it's no more the current what we call half modern way. Okay, so let's take a look at different mountains. So the smallest one, right? So it's called Qiu. It's really a Qiu, right? So 过一个小丘, right? So it's basically called mount or no hill, right? So now English and Chinese, you don't try to one. You don't try to one. There are no direct meaning on a Chinese word versus an English word. Right, so don't try to do that. You try to do that, you're gonna have a bit of a mountain. You just go for roughly anything that basically bulge out of the land. You can call it a Qiu, right? So we call it a Qiu, right? So is Qiu is a mountain or not? Yes, Qiu is a mountain, right? So sometimes we call this ku, right? So in what we call in Feng Shui, you may hear the word ku, or what we call storage. So storage usually is a Qiu level mountain. Small little mountain. Your graveyard also can be called a Qiu, right? So mountain are stone tree. Mountain are stone tree. Why you can have waterfall at the top is the O3 tube system, right? So yeah, some also might be, right? So there's one later we will have one which is a flat top one, right? So the Ayers rock type, later we will have one. I forgot that one is called Gu, I think, it's not wrong, right? So so this is called Qiu lah, right? So now we start, small little mountain is called Qiu. What about mountain that's a little bit more bigger, right? So Qiu, confirm you can ascend to the top, right? So the next one is basically called Ling, right? So Ling, a lot of time when they say Ling, right, a lot of people will straight away think of Tum, because Tum uses this particular word which is called Ling, right? So it is just a bigger mound, gentle hill, all right, or large burial mound, right? So of course this is going to be one of it. Now in studying Feng Shui, right, you cannot escape to study burial ground. Cannot escape, right? So if you are serious in studying Feng Shui, because why? Kan Yu, which is the original of Feng Shui, was designed to find burial ground. So if you are an emperor, once you ascend the throne, the first thing you do is to decide where you're going to be buried. So the first thing you do is to commission a Feng Shui master, geomancer, you want to call it whatever it is, to go out and find a burial ground. So this is where the master need to go and ride the dragon. Right, go and ride the dragon, Chamlong. Right, the process is called Chamlong Dim Yu, looking for the dragon, marking the meridian, right? So that is the activity already. So because why, what happened is that after that they will need to bring people to go and build the tomb, right? So which is to build the ling, right? So yeah, right? So that's why there is a specific art of finding a tomb, and because there's wide availability of this emperor's tomb around in China. China got a lot of emperor. These are people who are like freaking rich. Right, so there's a tomb in China, just in Beijing itself. So you guys know the 13 Ming tomb, right? The 13 Ming tomb is 70 square kilometers. Huge. It's a huge place, right? So it's not easy, right? So it's basically all the most of the Ming emperor, and of course their cousin or whatever it is, their relative, are basically buried inside this particular place, right? So go there, very easy for you to see, identify all the dragon vein, all these kind of things, right? So it's going to these places that is easiest, because that is the reason why they chose the place. Right, so learning experience wise, if you are in a Feng Shui guy, you better go for one of these tombs. So just choose some of it, right? So there's a lot in the Xi'an area, so which is the next excursion that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over to Xi'an to take a look, because of the rich history of the Xi'an side, or what we call Chang'an, right? So Chang'an has been the capital of a lot of empire, right? So a lot of empire, and together with the Tang Empire, which is the biggest, strongest, most powerful, most glorified empire in China, which is the Tang Empire, right? So they have operated there, right? So the Xi'an or the Chang'an history is even more bigger than the Beijing. Beijing is 500 over years only. Xi'an there almost 1,500 years, right? So it must be some magic there. Right, got meridian point in the energy, eternal life, come back, renew, still same duty. Okay, right? So this is Ling lah, right? So this is basically a Ling, right? So then you reach a Feng. Feng is peak. Right, Feng is basically what we call peak, right? So the Feng very easy, right? What type of hill or shape do you think I Hitam Reservoir? The I Hitam Reservoir in Puchong, the hill lor. Kizzy, you would ask me, it's called a hill, right? So now it's definitely bigger than the Ling, right? So it's definitely bigger than a Ling. Ling usually you can just walk up, right? So it's definitely bigger than a Ling, right? So but to think about it, some of the emperor's Ling is actually pretty big one. It's pretty big, right? So Feng is basically peak, right? Feng is peak, you know. Feng is pretty easy, right? So you know, which mean the peak mean that which mean that you won't see any mountain higher than this mountain is basically called peak. So it's very easy. What does it mean when someone said the building is located at the head of the dragon? Later we're gonna talk about head of the dragon. Right, so head of the dragon mean the lower part of the mountain, not the higher part. Lower part of the mountain. So peak and summit is basically called a Feng. Right, so that's why, you know, if it's in China, then you see that, you know, this is what Ling, right? So no, not like Malaysia. Malaysia, every single thing is, you know, it's either we call it a height, right? Like Putra Heights. You know why it's called Putra Heights? Because there is the Kingsley Mountain there, so they call it Putra Heights, lo. Right? So what are the heights? Damansara Heights. You know, then there is the Damansara Mountain there, right? So called Damansara Heights. Right, so that's basically what, right? So peak interesting, right? So peak is interesting, but usually the Feng Shui energy on the peak is actually no good one. Peak energy is a lot of time we classify them as fire energy, right? So fire energy a lot of time is highly spiritual, right? So highly spiritual, aka mean, you know, either you live or you die, right? So peak energy is usually very aggressive. Very aggressive, or what you call very fast, right? So because if you take a look also, right, peak very difficult for qi accumulation, right? But qi dispersion is very fast. You know, qi cannot accumulate at the peak, so it always disperse. So that's why a lot of time when you're in Feng Shui, we ask you, you know, please don't buy anything on top of the mountain. Right? It's very challenging Feng Shui to stay on top of the mountain. Okay, right. So you know, anything happen, you're the first one to be hit by it. When we talk about anything happen, good, bad, right? So anything good happen, you're the first one who's gonna get it. Anything bad happen, you're the first one who's gonna get it, right? So the question is, are you able to withstand the negative impact when the negative impact come? Everybody want to, you know, everybody want the positive stuff. Nobody want to face the negative stuff, right? So, but Feng Shui is very fair. Right, so you know, you got a wave of positive stuff coming in, then you got a wave of negative stuff coming in, right? So in the question is how much can you think, right? So you know, that's why, you know, peak usually very what we call aggressive, very difficult, right? So not everybody can or are able to stand the energy of the peak, right? So and peak energy also a lot of time is used for militaristic purpose. So when we go Taisan that time, we will show you one of the peak in Taisan, not Taisan, the peak that you can see that form what we call a flag formation, right? Flag formation are fire mountain line up on each other, right? So those are very useful for calling for militaristic gathering, which is one of the reason why a lot of emperor go Taisan, right? Gather army. Okay, right. So that's one of the things that the Taisan could offer them, because the landform has this particular energy available for them to use. So whether want to use, don't want to use, right? Right. So Hong Kong rich stay at Santeng. If you take a look at it, they don't really stay at Santeng, right? So they don't really stay at Santeng. You know, they basically stay at, you know, halfway, and the design of the house is a bit different one, right? Taisan got Chastity Mountain. Taisan is pretty Chastity Mountain. Taisan is not a kind, gentle mountain. So when we reach the top that time, you know, you will take a look at it, right? So but Taisan is not really that high only. I just want to tell you, it's 1,500 meter. It's pretty short, right? It's pretty short compared to, you know, compared to your Himalaya. It's like 3,000, 4,000, you know, line. It's pretty short. You know, you don't get you know, snow cap, those kind of things in Taisan. No, right? So you don't find any, you know, snow capping mountain like a where's that Japanese mountain, Fuji, right? So you don't look at it, you know, in that particular manner. So it's not very high only, the mountain. So that's why also, you know, the mountain is very popular. Right, so that's called Feng lah, right? So that's basically called Feng. And then, you know, right, so the mountain that's basically huge in China, huge, is called Yue, right? So there is only 5 official Yue. So these are called majestic sacred mountain. There's only 5 of them, right? Official, there's only 5 of them. So which means that this 5 mountain is historically, they have very strong what we call historical meaning, right? So then Taisan, you know, each of them basically represent one area. So Taisan represent the east sacred mountain, Huashan, right? So it's the west sacred mountain. So then we got Hengshan, which is the south sacred mountain. By the way, both of them in English is called Heng, but you can see that the Chinese word is different. So that is one of the biggest problem with trying to Englishifies Chinese wording. There is not enough English wording to put it in the Chinese wording, right? So you can have a there is actually a poem that was written, you know, last time, because there was this very strong push to move to remove the Chinese Hanyu writing method because it's too complicated. They want to change everything into English. China actually wanted to change everything into Hanyu Pinyin. But then during one of the scholar presented a poem. The poem, everything was chicken. G, everything is G. So if you translate that to Hanyu, you will end up everything is G. You cannot read. But if you read it in Chinese, if you take a look at it, Chinese, every single wording is different. So the Hengshan and the Hengshan, you know, you can see that there's 2 Hengshan. Go home. Right. So one is basically called balance, you know, so it's like the scale that Heng. Another one is basically is determination. There is also called a Heng. Heng Xing 那个 Heng. Right, so no one is 衡量那个 Heng, right? So it's 2 different Heng. So both of them is called Hengshan, right? So and then we got Songshan, right? So Songshan, or sometimes they call it Sokshan. So depending, right? So no, the wording is not the Chinese Song dynasty Song, right? It's Sokshan. So this one, if you got see, there's one Chinese Sokshan Jun, right? So a very magical fighting movie, you know, you got the most real, you got Jiang Yigin, you know, all those kind of things, you know. Yeah, that's basically, right? So that's basically the center. So all the 5 peaks, my plan is one day would be to visit all the 5 peaks. Next one is Huashan, right? So Huashan is the one that in the Chinese what we call the Chinese movie, there's one part which is called Huashan Lun Kim. So the great fighting in Huashan. Right, the great fighting is Huashan Lun Kim, right? So that's basically the one. The Hengshan and the Hengshan, I couldn't find any story for it at this current moment. Yeah, right, I'll bring you guys to all of it, right? So of course, you know, right now I've arranged one which is going to Taisan. So this one is mainly centered on visiting Taisan. Right? So why I want to visit Taisan, and of course the important thing is that through the generation, many emperor, you know, since the Qing dynasty, Ming dynasty, right? So all these particular dynasty, all their emperor seems to make an effort into going to this particular one of the China Wuyue, right? So it's one of China's sacred mountain. Right, so now, my personal understanding on a lot of things is like this. If over time this thing didn't disappear and it keep on appearing, there must be some reason behind it, even if you don't really understand the reason fully. Right, so this is AKA, even scientifically, you cannot scientific anything. If it did not disappear through the passage of time, there must be some value into it lah, right? So that's how I processed it, right? So that's why, you know, going to Taisan to take a look. So I went there a few rounds already, Taisan, to take a look, you know, taking cable car up, you know, even walk up the mountain, which is a bit of a grueling killing for me, for somebody who doesn't go for exercise. Yeah, right. So, and I understand why the emperor want to go to place. The landform there is pretty good. It's pretty good landform, right? So, not to mention, the Taisan is really one of the highest peak in the eastern side of the border, right? So, which means that there's no peak higher than this after the eastern side of the border. So that's why this is one of the mountain that you can very clearly see the sunrise from the sea, which is also awesome. Right, so small little journey on the 30th. All right, so 30th of August, you know, we'll go there and we'll come back on the 7th of August, and Taisan is the main point of it. They will go there, so you will learn a lot about Feng Shui, right? So especially for those of you, you know, who want to really learn ground Feng Shui, and you know, a lot of, like, you know, things like authentic, want to become authentic Feng Shui master, come. Okay, no worry, this one I won't make you walk the mountain. Right, the first one that I did in KL Penang lah, right? So we all were asked to walk up the mountain. Right, so after that, no one want to be Feng Shui master anymore, right? So got road for you to walk up, also you complain, right? Last time no road, no nothing, right? So this one also, you know, I will show you the path, you know. So it's nicely is that you can stand on top and you can look at the path, so you don't have to go and walk at it, right? So what you need to imagine right now after looking at it is that, you know, how did the fella during last time, you know, when there were no staircase, you know, everything was, you know, in such a route to actually come. It's actually not easy, right? So you take a look at it, right? So, you know, we'll be learning about that. So of course, you know, since we are there, may as well learn about everything. So the Feng Shui architecture, right? So, you know, Feng Shui architecture 1000 year, 800 year, 500 year ago, I show you all the architecture. Then you start to understand, you know, what the hell is Feng Shui architecture and how does the emperor actually apply Feng Shui. So of course, you know, we'll be visiting the main tomb. Why? Not because we want to look at the tomb. The tomb not important. It's the area around the tomb which is important, right? So why did they select this particular place? You know, how did the selection make? And once you see the big picture, right? So on the main tomb, when you see the big picture, you start to understand, and you will be able to right now tie back to all the Feng Shui study that you have done, okay? Theory plus practical. Right, then after that, you know, your practice is gonna be very easy lah, right? So still have or not, what do you mean by the tomb inside still have or not? They have only opened 3 tomb only. The main tomb only 3 has been open. Because why? Many places also are, you know, a lot of people, why don't they open the tomb? Because one thing, once they open the tomb, once the oxygen go in, right, everything inside start to disintegrate. Tomb are all sealed, vacuum sealed. Right, tomb are all vacuum sealed over the time, so there is 0 air inside, right? So later, when we're there, you know, I will also tell you how they vacuum the place. Interesting. Okay, right? So no, yeah, it's vacuum sealed. So when they vacuum seal, everything inside is preserved, right? Time literally stop when you remove oxygen. Important thing, right? So, you know, all these kind of things. So when they open the tomb, right, a lot of time they open a few already, right? Everything inside disintegrate. Like for example, the Xi'an, the terracotta, right? The terracotta is actually colorful one, right? Colorful, all got paint one. So what happened when they first take it out? It was in front of their eye that they see that the paint disappeared. So right now they don't dare to do anything. Right, so it's not that that they are afraid of ghosts or whatever it is, that they do not have a stable preservation method. Right, once they open the tomb, everything just disintegrates. So it's a race against time and everything, you know. So especially parchment, or, you know, whatever that scroll that you have, they don't last. Just tell you first, right? So, you know, some master god say shouldn't go to tomb cause drain your energy. Is it correct? No, not exactly lah. Not exactly, right? Just tell you first, not exactly. So, you know, you come over, we will visit one of the tomb. You know, one of it has been opened, dug up. You know, everything inside, you know, has been nicely placed. Then we can go in and take a look. 2 actually, I will bring you to 2 separate tomb, which is we will go inside one. To me also, there is, to me, it's because I said that there's no point going inside. It's just a square. But it's just a square in the ground, guys. There's really nothing to see. It is the outside which is important, not the inside, right? So yeah, the tour guide also, it's a bit what we call buffer when I tell him that actually, I'm not interested in going into the dome. I'm interested in the area outside of the tomb. The fellow also is like a blur case, but never mind, right? So when you go there, it's easy for me to explain to you. So you want to join this particular tour, right? So just scan the QR code, or you can just click the link inside the description given to you already, right? So come and join this particular tour, right? So it's August next year, please. Right, it's August next, so plenty of time for you to plan for your holiday, right? So some of you are telling me that I'm waiting for my bonus, right? So I tell you what, and I'll go and find a date for you to manifest for bonus. Right, so one day I'll give it to you, right? So all of this basically will happen through a 9-day trip, so the entire total is 9 days, right? So it's not the normal, because if you go for this normal tour that is organized by other people, usually it's 4 days. Okay, right? So this is basically double the normal one, because why? Since you are flying in, right, let's not waste the air ticket, right? So that's how I plan stuff, right? I want to give you the most amount of value. So and of course, food is going to be a plenty. Okay, right? So come, this is gu, right? So this is basically gu. So this one is the flat top one, right? So your Ayers rock, right? So, and there's also in the one in the US which was named the Tree of Life, right? So it really looked like a petrified tree trunk that has been cut, right? A petrified tree trunk that has been cut on top, and I think up until right now no one has manually scaled this mountain before. Helicopter land done before, right? So yeah, right? So this is basically called gu. Right, so sun gu, right? So it's basically a place whereby there's a lot of flat top. So sometimes you will find town on top of it. Sometimes somebody will actually build a town on top of it, because why? Defensively is safe. It's easy to defend, right? So you're always on high ground, so it's not easy for for them to come in. Oh yes, I will bring you to see one of these gu. Yes, one of the places basically at gu. Okay, right? So we will see this as well, right? So yes, it's flat top, and then with things, and this one is also one of the strong military area. And then after this, we will talk about again building design, why certain buildings are designed in such a way, right? So we take a lot of inspiration from nature, right? So gu is one of it. So this is one very good defensive mechanism. So you can stand on top, throw stone at people lah. You can stand on top, shoot people lah. Right? Could explain facing and backing position usage. Huh? What do you mean by facing, backing? Backing is just behind you. If you are using manifestation, there's no such thing as facing. It's backing. Right? Backing. Right? So if the formation is in southwest, then you back southwest. Back southwest means face northeast, ma. Right? Right? Backing and facing is 90-degree one, right? Yeah. That's basically the facing only. Between this one and the one with the sharp peak, which one better for manifest? Huh? Which one better for manifestation? No, we don't use this for manifestation. you don't go up onto the mountain to do manifestation. Right? The difference is that the sharp peak one, the energy usually is very fast. Right? So the energy very fast, not very retaining, very aggressive. So of course, if you want to use those energy, you need to use those energy for aggressive purpose, as in raising army, whacking other people. So that is one of the reasons why they go Taisan. Taisan have this sort of formation there, right? So Taisan very militaristic. I just put it away. It's a militaristic place. It's not a gentle spiritual place. Right, so whereas the gu is more stable. So stable is for defensive purpose. So I think if your manifestation is for defensive purpose, as in try to be steady, those kind of stuff. Yeah, I think using the gu energy would be good. Right. So again, on top and at the cliff are all different, right? Then you have qiao, right? Steep cliff, right? And escarpment. So hey. This English word also, I don't know what the hell it is. Steep cliff, then I know, right? So now this one definitely cannot stand. So the good, you can stand on top of it. This one you cannot stand on it. Right? So you won't be building anything on top of this. Right? So this is basically qiao. Right? So you have the 神雕俠侶橋峰 is this 橋峰, right? So it's 橋峰. Right? So 橋峰 mean that this and the peak, right? So you know that the fellow is very aggressive, no? Right, so which ones tend to increase? Increase is energy. What do you mean by increase is energy? All mountain disperse energy. They don't increase energy. All mountain disperses the energy. Right, so mountain are landform that have absorbed a lot of cosmic energy from planets on the sky. Right, so they're where they bulge up. Yes, it's very different from the scientific two tectonic plate pushing each other, bulging up thingy. Very different from that. Okay, right? So it store all the cosmic energy. So that's why in Feng Shui, what is on top on the sky is what you could see on the ground, right? So the ground mountain actually mirrored the sky energy, right? So over millennial, billions of years, you have accumulated all the energy. So it's like a battery bank. Over time, it will release the energy out, right? Right, absorb body energy. All right, how about valley energy? Valley energy is basically channel of the mountain energy that has been released. So water is the clearest indicator of the flow of energy, because you cannot see energy flow, but water can be seen, and water will usually be at the lower part of the valley. So that's why we use water as a proxy indicator of the energy. And so this is how we use this. This type of mountain plenty in Guilin are, yes, the one that is very famous, Zhang Jiajie, is it? Because they do avatar there. Right? So, avatar, you should have a lot of qiao, those column type. Yeah, right. So that's basically qiao, right? So then they got zhang. Zhang is vertical wall type. Zhang is basically vertical wall type. It doesn't look like a sharp knife one. It's basically bigger vertical wall, right? So this one a cliff lah. I don't know when to call it cliff. Right, the one that you stand and then you look down and you may fall down like stupid fuller one. Like this zhang, right? So yes. Right, so qiao is more like broken soldier mountain. Not exactly, right? So not really exactly, right? Tonify the body. Why you want to tonify the body? Right? Why you want to tonify the body? Right, so you want to. I think what you want to find is it's actually a meridian where the energy is being released. Right, so a mountain got specific releasing point, so that's why they call it dragon, because mountain in Chinese metaphysics, in Feng Shui, it is actually a moving energy, right? Moving energy. So you want to find the energy terminal point of the energy whereby it releases the energy, and then call it a meridian. Right, so that's why not all mountain release their energy; they keep on going. Right, so the the big mountain is what also forgot already, right? So the center Kunlun mountain, right? So Kunlun mountain is a very big storage of energy, right? So Kunlun mountain is huge, right? So then Kunlun mountain got 5 spokes that's coming up. So one of the spoke is the spoke that travel to Xi'an, travel up to Beijing, right? So that's why in this particular path there seems to be a lot of different empire. They built their main city. So Chang'an is one of them. And then there is the Hebei or Henan, I've forgotten. Hebei or Henan, there's this Kaifeng, right? So that's one of it, right? So and then the Beijing. So that's why Nanjing was a big failure, by the way. Right, Nanjing does not really have a strong dragon. Right, Nanjing don't have a strong dragon, so that's why Nanjing was pretty much a failure. Then they moved back to Beijing. Right, Genting Island is a fire mountain, right? Genting Island is a fire mountain, so that's why gaming all these things that's basically quick, it work there, right? So that's basically Zhang, right? So then Luan, now this is very important. When you lump a few mountains together, we call them Luan, right? So in landform study, Chinese is called Luanto, right? Luanto is basically to study the flow of the mountain, right? Flow of the mountain and find the head. Just now somebody said want to find, right? So it's basically to identify where the mountain is going. Head of the dragon is the direction of the mountain that's going. It is not the top. Don't go the other way around. So this is like, the Kunlun mountain is the house of the dragon. So dragon travel out from the house of the dragon, going somewhere, and eventually dragon will stop at one places. That's the terminal point of it. Then dragon will open mouth and release release the energy. So it's like can be like, that's the story lah. Right? So the entire study of Luanto, which is the landform study, right? So landform study is actually to find this particular traveling direction of a mountain. It's for you to see the traveling direction of it. Right? So in one of the spot, which is in one of the what we call Great Wall, right? So Great Wall of China, we will go Great Wall of China, one of the section that not many people want to go. Okay, not many people want to go section. Okay, that is where it's because it is the Great Wall of China is built all on high ground. So it's on the is the northern side, right? It's on the northern side of the China side, right? So it's basically all high ground mountain there. So stand there, very easy for you to see. The rest of the mountain becomes smaller lor. Right, so then it's easy for you to see because on top of it you will see the mountain ranges, which normal circumstances very difficult for you to see. Right, so now for those of you who have been to Thailand with me, Thailand one, we are on the same level as the other mountain, so you are not able to see it from top to the bottom to actually see the mountain. So this one you'll be able to see from the top to the bottom. So it's easy for me to show you, where is all the, dragons going. So different dragons going, right? Yes. Titi Wangsa is a Luan. Titi Wangsa is one of the what we call the northern dragon vein from Kunlun Mountain, right? Northern dragon vein from Kunlun Mountain is basically Titi Wangsa, right? So the terminal point is actually at Singapore. Singapore is actually the terminal point. Right, so this is Luan. So the Feng Shui study is actually to study Luan. Right, so if you put everything together, it looks something like this. Right, so dragon looks something like this. Right, you got the general sun. Right, you got the general sun. Then you go up a bit. It's called Feng. Then a bit more taller, more majestic. You call it Yue. Right, so Yue is basically just huge. Right, so Feng is the small little top on top. Yue is fat. Tall guy and a huge guy, right? So if you want to say Yue, then it's you guys know the guy, basketball player, not Michael Jordan, Shaq. Shaq is Yue lor. Oh, so if Michael Jordan were to fight with Shaq, sure Shaq will win. Shaq got the height, at the same time also got the Yao Ming. Right, so then shorter a bit Ling, another one shorter is basically Qiu, right? So like this, then you start to see different sizes, right? So then on the other side, then you got Gu, Qiao, and also Zhang. So it's also become, you want to say bigger or become sharper or become, right? So then everything, when you lump them all together, is called Luan. So which means Luan can be mixture of Yue, Feng, San, Gu. Right, so or it can be a mixture of Feng, San, Ling, Qiu. Right, so it's different things. Right, so as you see, it's pretty nice, right? Chinese is pretty nice, right? It's pretty nice, right? So you got different. Right, so different heights, you got different thing, different, all different. Singapore is dragon head, diving, catching pearl, right? Yes, you can give it any name. Right, you can give it. So basically, the dragon go down to the land in Johor. Then it comes back up in Singapore, right? So it's wow. In Singapore, so the energy, is dispersed inside Singapore itself, right? So yeah, okay, right? So right. So now, if you want to stick to the that particular flying dragon, it's gonna be a bit difficult, right? But if you look at the real thing, right? Right, Batam is the extra, no one bothered to look at Batam. Right, no one bothered too much to look at Batam anyway. Right, so but anyway lah, right, so it's when you go, all right, so and you take a look at it, the real thingy in XL size, then it's easy when I tell you, things like that, because you can see, you can really see, right? The problem with the Singapore thingy, right, so it's different, right? So it's basically because it's again like you cannot stand at the place and look at the mountain. China, a lot of place you can stand and look at mountain. That's the difference only. That's the main difference, right? So that's why experience sometimes is very important. And when you want to become a Feng Shui master, last time you will spend 3 years just walking together with the master, just to look at mountain. Yeah, right. So 3 years of your life just to look at it, and sometimes the master doesn't even teach you anything within that particular 3 years. So now it's easy, one trip scouting, right? One trip you upgrade your entire, I call perception upgrade for yourself, right? So because you've never seen before, so that's why very difficult for you to imagine. But once you go there, once you see already, then the rest become very, very easy, right? So Huangshan is a Luan. Every single mountain also basically you can call it a Luan is just a what do we call here? Luan is a range, right? So usually the word that we use is mountain range, right? So but Luan in Chinese is a mountain cluster, so it's different, right? So that's why it's called Luanto, right? So Luanto is to find the head of the Luan. So the head of the Luan means that all this mountain is energy is traveling towards a direction. I'm trying to find where the direction is going. So hopefully I'll find the terminal point, which is the head of the mountain, right? The head of the mountain is not at the top, just that's it, right? So to walk the mountain is really the entire process of walking along the mountain to find where the terminal point is. So that's why it's a deadly hobby in the olden day. Yeah, this is where all the monster, bandit, robber, snake, China killer wasps. This huge. Right, so all this, right? So yeah, all this is basically in the mountain, right? So you want to be somebody who's studying mountain, how dangerous it is, yeah. Right, so today no need to be so dangerous. Dangerous thing I do for you. Okay. The dangerous thing is called Recce. I do for you. Dangerous thing. Right, this is where I go through all the known tourist path. Right, known tourist path, go around. Right, so my friend will start asking me, want to go man here? Mana go lah, right, if there's anything worth looking at, then I'll bring you guys. If there's nothing worth looking at, then don't bring. All right, guys. Right, so this is the session. Now you got good vocabulary of Chinese. Do you need to remember all this? Frankly speaking, no lah. Right, so you just need to know that this thing exists. That's it. Right, so when people are having a conversation, and they talk about what phone, already. Okay, so this one is this. So Yue is even bigger. Or Ling is basically like that. Why can't you do drowsing and find meridian spot? Very different. It's a very, very different thing. Right? So drowsing and finding meridian spot, very, very different thing. Drowsing is actually not to find meridian spot. Drowsing usually is used to find underground water channel. Underground water channel. That's basically what drowsing is. So Now again, right? So drowsing, fine underwater channel, the same thing is because water carry the energy. So your drowsing method found the energy, whereas the meridian is not carried by water. Right? Meridian are not carried by water. Meridian is more pure energy that is traveling. So it's not the collected energy. That's the difference. Right? So no, again, I know, come over, take a look, I show you easy. Right? Show you is much more easier than plenty of years theory. This is like this is like telling you sushi in Japan is much more fresher. Sushi King here, Malaysia, same right? They air flown over, same one. Go Japan, try their ramen, try their sushi, then you come back and you eat ours. Straight away you say that this one is not edible. Sad. Sad. Okay, right, so that's it for today, right? So again, for those of you who want to come and join a excursion that's a bit different from a tour, right? So I'll be leading it, it's only 30 space, right? And come over and have some fun together, right? So we have good food, right? Very, very good discussion, right? So at that point in time when you do discussion, it's easier to do discussion because why? Something physical is there for you to talk about, or else in class Hampelang talk theory only, okay? And then just talk theory, look at this, right? So for the Great Wall of China, I need to climb a bit. The place I want to show you doesn't really require a lot of climbing, but then after that there is gonna be a few. Now I think the thing is that since you are there, right, you might as well go and climb it. I've done the climbing already. Since you are there, go do the climbing. We'll wait for you. I've arranged enough time for you to do everything, right? So this is not one of the rush thingy that I tell you 15 minutes you come back. It's not that type of things. We will spend hours there talking about the things, and I highly encourage the rest of you to go and climb because again since you are there, right? Since you are there, might as well do it. Okay, right? So that more question than a Penang trip. Yeah, come and ask more question than Penang trip. Right, so you can use Pearl to find meridian spot. Use Pearl to find meridian spot. Never tried that before. Usually they will use I don't know, the thingy. They go and thingy and thing. Got confused. Some part of the trip not quite safe? No. All the part of the trip is basically safe. Right, so these are all are very, very easy to go trip. Right, so every single part is basically cable car to the top. Right, so when you reach the top, there's gonna be a bit of a walking. I'll walk together with you. I'll explain stuff to you. And that's basically not gonna kill anyone. Right, because again, I'm very afraid that you guys might get into trouble. Right. Yes, pendulum, correct, John. Is playing around with the pendulum to find stuff. Yeah. All right, so Olga is completely safe, right? So all is cable car to the top, to the place. All the important spot that I want to show you is all very easily accessible. Okay, right? So this is not a super adventure. The next one might be a bit more adventurous. Right, so next one, want to go Huashan. Huashan, I heard, damn difficult. Right. Huashan got 5 peaks. All right. Right, so they say it's very difficult. So I don't know. I go and confirm with you first how difficult it is. Die there for you guys. All right, that's it. See you all. Bye.